So there's a few things that I want to go ahead and change about my project, and in general, just a few things that have changed. So the first thing that has changed is my loader. And in the last video, I went ahead and I used the use effect again to set my products and grabbing the product detail. And the way I was grabbing the product detail, and sorry, this is commented out, was through the use loader data. So from the use loader data, I was getting the array of all 9 objects that I have for all of my products. And I was basically mapping over those products and returning the one with the product ID equals to the parameter ID. But we went ahead and we switched the way we were doing this. Instead, now inside of our API, we are accepting a ID for our get products. And this ID is put into a URL variable, and basically it'll load up our API products and then ID. So whatever ID is passed through here. Otherwise, we'll just go ahead and render up all of our products. So this should be products. And then now when we go back into our product detail, we can go ahead and access our parameter because this is a parameter route, meaning that when we click on it, we go to /shop2/ and then we get a parameter. That's when we click on the product, that'll give us our parameter. So because this is bringing us to a param route, and also if we go here, we can better illustrate that. So if we go to the route of this route right here, we see that shop/ and then this colon and then ID will take us to the parameter, or it'll give us a parameter in the URL that we went ahead and put the ID of the product. So that means we can access it through the loader using an object and passing in params. So I guess the loader has some type of object that allows us to get the params. And we can illustrate this by saying console.log params. And we see that we get the ID of 2. So when we go ahead and we get the products, we can pass the param ID, which goes into our API.js, and which basically passes 2. And then what 2 will do was we'll go ahead and say, hey, search our API, search all of our products, and return the one with the ID of 2. And then I want to go inside of my server to illustrate that. So here are my products. This one's the ID of 2. So API is, let's see, API is just this entire API. And then product is our individual product. So we'll have our products. And then basically we're saying 2. So that's this candle right here. And since we have 2, we'll put that in here, 2. And then we'll get the second product. And that's a much easier way of doing this instead of, having to even map over it in the first place. But I want to keep all these comments here, even though it's kind of weird, because it'll give me kind of a reference to how I was doing this. And then now when we use the loader data and we get our product is going to grab the direct product that we need. And then we don't have to use state anymore. Oh, that's very weird. We don't have to use state anymore. So that means our product and our set product doesn't have to be react.useState. And that was basically this challenge that we went ahead and we did here. I'm not sure what he's doing for this search. So we're not going to worry too much about that. We're going to move on to the second challenge though, where I'm going to make a lot of changes to the code base, and I just wanted to do this live. So let me go ahead and navigate there. Okay, so I'm back. And something that is different about our project and the project with Vanslife that I want to go ahead and work on is the simple fact that I am using a top products to display these 3 products right here. And in Vanslife, we aren't doing that. we are just making a fetch request basically to the host vans, and we are just making, so we're in here, he's basically just mapping over vans, which vans is getting the fetch requests, or what's coming back from the fetch requests. And instead I went ahead and put these 3 products into some hard-coded objects. And this has to do with the way he set up his server.js. So I want to go inside of server.js and I want to make a few key differences. So if we go into our server.js, we can give the host, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we can go ahead and give our objects a host ID. And this host ID is going to allow us to go ahead and do some different things. So I want to give these some host IDs and also put a host ID here. And I don't want to give a host ID to all of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm just going to give a host ID to 9 different products. And if we want to give the host ID to the rest of the products later, we can go ahead and do that. And in his routes, let me just make sure everything is correct. Logging false. Okay, everything is working correctly. Our ID, and then let's see, products ID, request params ID. Okay, so I think everything is working correctly. That's weird. He added a few things along the way, and I had my own way of doing it, and he had his own way of doing it. So I'm just hoping that everything works seamlessly, or at least correctly. So in here, we can go into our dashboard, and we have on our dashboard, let's see, not our dashboard. We need to go to this page right here, our welcome. So let's see where that is. Yep, that is our dashboard. We're basically have the H4, and then we have our mapped products inside of this container. And these are these 3 products that we have right there. So instead of doing this map, I want to go ahead and switch to a loader. And this may not be too difficult. What we basically want to do is we want to first and foremost use a loader on this page. So we want to fetch with a loader. Instead, we can go ahead and say export function loader. And that's good. Now we need to go into our main and remember that we are grabbing this for our dashboard. And our dashboard is using this weird inline loader. I guess I can just leave that for now. Let's just see what happens when we use this loader. So now we want to go ahead and import our get products. So now inside of our loader, we can go ahead and run that. So let's go to our loader real quick, and let's say return get products, which is going to be the same. And then remembering that we need to, we don't need to get the ID of a certain product, so we can just iterate over all of the products. And then down here, as we know, we can go ahead and say const products equals, and then we can use location, if that's what it's called. Yep, use location, or use loader data, sorry. So I think we need to use our loader data. And if we go down here, we can say use loader data, and then we can console.log our products. And if we go back to Mnazia, let's reload, we're getting null. And I think the reason why we're getting null is because basically our dashboard doesn't know whether or not this loader is on it. So we can go here and say loader as dashboard page loader. So now we can go down here. And the reason why I didn't want to do this is because it seemed like it already had the loader inside of the component, but we're going to just remove this and we're going to say, where is it? Dashboard page loader. And now we should get all of our objects, which is exactly what we wanted. And we can go back into dashboard. And I think I want to move this down here because I think I may still use this code. And, oh, sorry, I'm messing up here. So all these products are going to be there. What I basically want to do, I might not use the map method to do this, but as we see, all of our products have basically all of our products are these 9 arrays. So what I want to do instead is I want to say const, and then I'll say top products, or I'll just say best sellers, or yeah, best sellers. And then I want to equal that to products, or I'm thinking maybe doing some type of for loop so that I can only iterate it 3 times. So honestly, I haven't used the for loop in a while, but I want to control how many times I basically run over this loop. So I want to say for let I equals, if I can find it, 0, and then I is going to be less than, let's just say 3, and then I is going to increment by 1 every time. And then what I basically want to do is I want to say products, and then I want to put the I in it, and I want to return this. So let's see what's happening. Objects are not valid as a React child. Okay, let me say const. Let me say const best sellers equals products, and we should get all of our products, and then let's return best sellers. Okay, that might not work, but if we go over here, and maybe I can change this actually. Let me just see what happens when I map over best sellers. So best, let's see, let's say best sellers. Best sellers is not defined. Okay, so I guess I can't just grab best sellers from there in the for loop. I'm going to pause real quick and see if I can find a solution because it may take me a while. All right, I just want to come back and I think I have a different idea. So instead, I'm going to hard code something called best sellers. So I'm going to say best seller is going to be true. And I just want this to be on 3 of our objects. So best seller, and best seller. So now if I go here to my dashboard, instead of having to do all of this, I'm just gonna do this, and then I'm gonna console.log our products. Should get the array of 9 products. Let me cancel that out real quick. Okay, so I should get the array of 9 products, and now I can map over that array. So I can say const best sellers elements, and then dot map, and then the product, and then we're going to say if the product dot best seller, and let me make sure that's how I did it. Best seller is true. Then we want to go ahead and return the product, or we can at least go ahead and say const best seller, and then set best seller equals, let's say react.use state, have that be null by default. And then we want to say the project dot best seller is true. Then we'll set the best seller to the product. Otherwise, we'll just return back null. And let's say products, project, where's project? Hold on, where do I have that? Product, okay. That's weird. Okay, so product, and then I spelled it wrong. Okay, that should be working now. It says product is not defined. Okay, that is weird. Why is that happening? Is that because I have this like this with no implicit returns? That is really weird. So products, and then wow. Okay, hold on. Let me see what's going on here. Let me console.log our products. And we are getting an array, right? We're getting an array of objects. And I want to iterate over these. So I want to say products dot map, and then the individual product. And then I want to console.log the product. And let's see what we get. Okay, so we get all of our products. So let's try to go take a step back here. So products.map, and then instead of console.logging, I want to say the product dot best seller is true. We want to console.log that product. Otherwise, oh, I spelled it wrong here. That's what I did. Let's return null. Let's refresh here. And we should just get back the 3 that have best sellers. And then that is exactly what we want happening. But instead, we can go ahead and instead of console.logging it, let's set best seller. So now too many. Okay, so we'll have to use a react.useEffect .use effect. And then let's go ahead and do this. And let's throw this in here. So our dependencies array will make sure that this only runs once. So now if we reload, we should be able to console.log our best seller, and our best sellers is still giving me back. That's weird. It's only giving me back the last one. Let me see what happens when I try to render this onto the screen. Best sellers is not defined. Let's try to run this down here. Let's see. Objects are not a valid React child. Objects ID named. Okay, meant to render a collection of children. Use an array instead. Let's see what's going on here. I guess since when we're not rendering any kind of DOM with this just yet. What I'm trying to see is maybe instead of doing that, maybe we can run some JSX. So let me get all of this code here. Let's save it. Van is not defined. We don't need to do van. Let's just say product.id. And then let's change all this to product. And I can just do this to save some time here. And then index is not defined. So let's run an index here. Any more? Okay, no more. So now I can reload this, and let's see what's going on here. So our products.map, we can say const, and we can say this is going to be our best seller elements. And if we go down here, maybe we can get this working. Best seller elements. See if we run into any issues, and we don't. Good. So we didn't run into any issues. They're here, but we're having some weird type of things happening there. So let's see what's going on. So our product bestseller is true, then we'll run this. So our product dot image, I guess that's not loading up. That's weird. Oh, because it's image URL here instead of the... Okay, so now we're loading up, because before we were loading up with the top products, and that is a different JS file. That's just called image. So now that we fix that, we are good. Okay, let me go ahead and fix the fact that these names are insanely long, and we've already done that. What we could do is just add a short name. I don't know if that should be called short name, but we could just go ahead and do that, and then copy that, and then Bulldog Men's Skincare, and then go down here. Okay, short name, Northern Lights Candles. And then I'm going to probably pause while I do this real quick. All right, so I went ahead and set all of the short names, and probably isn't the best way to do it, but at the same time, I just want to, get through this so that I can get to the user authentication part. And then as I learn, I'll probably fix some of the rougher edges. But since this isn't really a real API, it doesn't really matter too much. And at the same time, what I'm thinking is that, well, actually, I could have just used, what I used here on my homepage or my shop page, where I made the strings shorter. Maybe that would have been an easier way to do it, but that's fine. I just did it this way. So I'll just give these the short names. And I guess now I'm not forced to do that twice, so I wouldn't have to do that in the products here, since the products all have their own short names. So let me see what the difference between the name is. Okay, I let much more name. Okay, let's say short name. And that's not going to give me any name because that doesn't exist. And let's go into my products, and I think I can switch up the short names real quick. Just of the fossils watch, and these are the top projects. Instead, we're getting everything from an API now, so it should be number 3, fossil minimalist men's watch. And then we can go ahead and copy that over, and then Bulldog Men's Skincare, we can just say body wash. How was it here? Let's see. Bulldog Men's Body Wash. Let's see if that was the same. We had it here. Bulldog Men's Body Wash, Bulldog Men's Body Wash, Northern Light Candles. Okay, we're good. And when we edit, we go to the correct item. Everything is still hooked up correctly, which is good. And then when we go to our dashboard, everything is working correctly, which is also good. And we're going to have to make some changes to the API.js as well. But for right now, we can go ahead and say this is working. And I may not even need this state anymore. may not need that state anymore, since what we're mapping over is our best seller elements. So I want to go ahead and reiterate what I did here and remove some code that is not needed. So this loader is basically going to run get products, which is coming from here, and it's going to take in an ID, and if it's going to be called the URL. And if the ID is true, meaning we pass a parameter, we are going to get the products only with those IDs. Otherwise, we're just going to get all of the products, and we just got all of the products here. And we're going to handle this differently because the host has a host ID, and we want to grab only the ones with the host ID. So we're going to do that in a second. And then basically we're going to respond, or we're going to await the fetch of the URL. So the API products URL, which is going to be this, which is going to be almost like saying fetch the API products, just how we did before. And we're also going to say if the response is not okay, we want to throw an error. And this error is going to have a message, and it's going to say fail to fetch the products, and it's going to give us our status text in our just our status. So whether we're a 400 error, it won't give us 200 or 300, because those mean those are responses that are actually okay. And then we're basically going to put our data. So our data is, let's see, where is our data coming from? Okay, so our data is coming from our response.json. We're going to put that into a variable called data. So that means when we get the response back, we'll await and convert it to JSON code. And then we're going to return the data.products. So that's all of the products. That's almost like returning the array of the 9 different products that we have. So when we go into our dashboard, we have our loader, and that's going to get our products, and we're not passing in any ID. Maybe we'll pass in a host ID, but for right now, we're just not. And then we're going to map over our products, and then we're going to, I don't even think I need this anymore. So we're just going to say top products.map. And remember, our top products are coming from, oh no, we actually don't need this. Actually, we're not using this anymore. That confused me for a second. So we can move this down, because this isn't being used anymore. We're not iterating over our top products anymore. Our top products are just 3 products. But instead, we're going to get back the ones with the best sellers that are equal to true, which is hard-coded for now. But I guess this isn't like a real application where people can buy stuff, so there would be no way to know whether or not something's a best seller. Basically, that's where we get our loader, and then we're getting our products from our use loader data. And if we console.log our products, we'll see that we'll just get the array of the 9 products. And that's exactly what we wanted. And we're basically going to say our best seller elements is going to be our products. So those 9 arrays, we're going to map over that array with the 9 different objects. And we're going to say if the product has a best seller. So if we go inside of our server.js, we added a best seller is true to only 3 things. So if it has that, then we're going to return this, what is it called? This CSS, I guess, the styled components. And it's basically going to give each one of them their own little container and style it. Otherwise, the other ones are null, meaning that we do not want to return them. And then this is how we were doing it before, I'm guessing. Let me see. Bestsellers elements, products.map. Okay, this didn't work anyways. So this isn't anything I would ever want to reference. And basically before we were doing our mapped products, and now we're using our best seller elements. So that is why it's working. And then if we go here, we gave our dashboard a loader of dashboard page loader. And something that we'll be doing is making this a protected route, but right now it is not. So I need to do this again on my listed products, but there's going to be a few more moving pieces. So I'm going to pause real quick and then I will start on that. Okay, so I'm back and I'll probably just try to do this on the fly. So let's start with our start with our API because there are some changes to the API. So in our second change to the API, we're making an export function or an async function to get just the host vans in particular. So the thing we can do is make the function and then we can say get, and then for me it'll be products and not vans, and then we'll pass another ID, and then we'll make another URL, and this URL is going to equals to the ID that we're getting passed through an argument when we call this function. And then if it's true, we're going to get the API / host / products / and then ID. And then otherwise, if it is true or false, and let me just explain what this means. So the /API / host / products are only the products that belong to the host. So different hosts can put their own products on this application, but we only want to fetch the ones that the host is provided by that particular host. So we'll API / host / products, there we go. And then we can say otherwise, just get the API / host / vans. And I think the reason why we're doing this is to get like a particular host. And that's because when we go here and we click on it, we only get a particular host. So now what we can do is we can say const, and then our response is going to await a fetch. And the fetch is going to be the URL that we just made. So now we can move on and we can say if the response is not okay, then we want to go ahead and message to the user that they failed to fetch. And sorry, let me go back. Failed to fetch products. And then we also want to go ahead and say the status text, which is going to be res.status text. And then we want to also give the status, which is going to be the response.status, and this is all of the error states. So now if we go down, and I'm not sure why this is acting so weird. Let me see here. Let's see, I guess we want to put this inside of a throw for it to actually work. And I guess it's just saying, hey, throw this object if the response is not okay. So now we can go ahead and say the data is going to await this response, and it's going to convert it to JSON so that we can read it. And then I want to return the data dot, and then it should be products. So I have a feeling that something weird is going to happen because I haven't set up the server.js file to be like his when it comes to finding the host products. So let's go into server real quick. And the difference between my server and his server is the fact that he has /products, which is going to be return the schema of all the vans. I have the ID, which is going to be the const ID. So it's going to request the params ID and return the schema products and then find the ID. But he also has two other things. So he has this.get and then /host /products. And what this is doing is, let's write this out, schema and request. And I guess he's hard coded the host ID for now, which is 123. I'll go ahead and write that. What he's returning here is the schema dot, and then let's say products dot where host ID is equals to 123. And I think this is really important to go ahead and write this out because I only want to return back when I try to reach this route here of host /products. When I make a fetch request here, I only want to return where the host ID is 123. And I'll show that in action in a second. And then this is going to be the one for the nested routes. So this.get and I want to say host slash vans. I think I can go back. So host slash vans slash ID, and let's see. And then let's go ahead and grab the schema and the request. And I want to say const, the ID is going to equals to the request params ID. Remember, this is going to get it from the parameter. And then we're going to return a schema. And then for us, it's going to be products. And then we'll find by the ID and the host ID of 123. So this is going to make sure that when we are looking for the vans in the nested route, so when we click on this, it's going to make sure that we find the correct ID and then the one with the host ID of 123. So I think with that part being listed out, we should be good. We should be. So let's go to our dashboard and let me say get products. Let me say instead get host products, and I'll show what the difference is right here. And he didn't really explain this at all, but I guess following along, I kind of just got the gist of it. So now that we're getting the host products, we should be getting a different array of products back. We should not be getting all 9. So let's go ahead and let's run this. We should not be getting 9 objects back. We should be getting a different number. If this will load at all. Okay, we're in the wrong one. So you tried to get API host.vans, but there's no route defined. Okay, let me go back to my API. Maybe I did this wrong. Get host products. Okay, host slash products. So I guess what's happening here is that we're still getting all 9 back. And let me see why that's happening. So we're going to get the host products. And I guess it's because we didn't return, or we didn't include any type of ID, meaning that we'll only get one product back when we actually pass in an ID. But what I'm also thinking is that this should still be only the products that have the host ID of 123, and some of these don't have a host ID of 123. Only 7 of them do, which is weird as to why it's not filtering those out. And I thought by adding these this.get methods, it would clean up the rough edges for me, which is weird why it's not, because we should only return the schema of the products where the host ID is 123. So let me try something real quick. Products where the host ID is 123. So let me try to refresh. Okay, and I think I was just writing something wrong, which is weird. I wonder what I was doing wrong. I want to go back and I want to compare what I was doing wrong for 1 second. And then I guess I was just this.get host slash products schema. Maybe I was doing something wrong on this line, or maybe I just spelled something wrong and I just can't see it right now. Either way, this is exactly what I was expecting. I was a little bit confused because we should have only returned back 7 products. But now if we go into our products, we will go ahead and change this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And for the sake of seeing whether this works well or not, instead of returning 7, I only want to return 6. So if we refresh, we should be getting 6 now, since we changed the data. So yeah, we're getting 6. And I want to display those 6. So in here, we can go to, we can close product detail. No, we don't need to close product detail. So in our dashboard, let's go ahead and go here. And this is our dashboard. And let me see how it works in my main. So in my main, this host layout is going to take in a few things. It's going to take in the income. What we need is the products. So that's the products listed. So if we open products listed, we can go ahead and get started on this. So our products listed right now, let's go ahead and see how that's laid out. I don't imagine it's laid out too terribly, right? So right now we're going over the products list and we're mapping over it. And then our products list is coming from another data file. So products list. And then I guess I did a different approach where I just put all the products from the host inside of a separate file. This is not very dry code at all. This is very, very wet code. And I basically wrote everything more than twice because I have the top products, which belongs to the host ID or to the host of 123. And then I have the products that they just sell in general in another file. I wonder how many files I did like that. That is ridiculous. So, wow, hold on. Let me open this. Oh, and this isn't even my file. I can go ahead and delete that. That's not going to matter. And then, of course, it's going to break something. But if we go into our dashboard, we should be able to fix this. So let me just remove Van's list because that shouldn't have been there anyways. But yeah, I basically wrote the same file 1, 2, 3 times. So the user reviews is something different. But these 3 files are all doing the same exact thing. And that is hilarious. The fact that I actually decided to do that. But nevertheless, let's just go ahead and fix what we came here to fix. So we can go ahead and import our get products, get host products. Get host products, we can go ahead and import that. And that is, again, coming from our, not our server, it should be coming from our API, get host products. And our products listed is just going to go ahead and list all of them. And they have the to method linked to them. So this is going to be a little bit different. But basically we're just returning this. And instead what we can do is use a loader. So we can say const, we can say loader, or we can say export default loader. And we're going to have to specify that it's a function. And what we can do is go ahead and return our get host products, and we're not going to have to do any kind of, oh, that's weird. Export, no, we don't want to export default. That's why we're just going to return back all of our products. We don't necessarily have to get any kind of special products. What is happening here? Okay, that just needed to reload. So we're just going to get our host products, and our host products, remember, inside of our server.js, our host products is going to be a separate fetch request. And whoa, that is weird. We should change that before we run into issues. Remember that our host products is going to be a separate fetch request where the schema, so where the products is a host of 1, 2, 3, meaning that 9 isn't going to fit in there, 8 isn't going to fit in there, 7 is not going to fit in there. Only the first 6 are going to fit in there. So when we make that fetch request, only the first 6 should appear. And then now we can go ahead and go up here. And since we are doing this in our products listed, we want to go inside of our products listed. Where's that? Products listed. And we want to go ahead and import our loader. So we want to say our loader as products listed loader. And then now if we go down into our products listed, that should be nested somewhere in here. Let's see. Should be in our products listed. Our loader can be our products listed loader. And that means we are now able to go ahead and go here. And let's say our products, or we can say our products is going to equals to our use, and then what was the name of that hook? I can't remember the name of the hook, the use loader data. So use loader data and I didn't import it from the top, so we'll have to import that. Use loader data. We can go back to the bottom, and now we could just break this for a second, and it's gonna say it doesn't exist down here. We could have just broke this bottom part instead. So my listed products is going to be nothing. But if I go ahead and say const, and then let's say listed products elements equals, and then we can say our products, and then we can map over those products, and then we can say our product and our index. Want to go ahead and wrap that. So let's say our products and our index is going to equals to, let's just do an implicit return. And we can go ahead and copy all of this, and we can save all of this. And van is not defined, of course, because we are only going to get our product. So we're going to say product on all of these. So let me get all of the instances of van, and let me just say product. And if we do that, it should be working correctly. Very nice. So I can go here, enter that there. And of course, we are going to get all of that weirdness. And remember, this is called image URL. So that should fix that. Inside of our server, it's called image URL. But inside of a lot of these other ones, like top products, it's just called image. And then products list, it's just called image as well. So that's just a little thing we have to change there. And then we want to use the short name because we did put the short name there for a reason. So inside of our API, our server, we see that we gave them all a short name. So we can access them by their short name. And when we click on them, we are getting that details page. And that is the last thing that we have to go ahead and fix. So let's see. So now we can go ahead and remove this. So we're using loaders to do all of the hard stuff for us. So let's see here. We can go ahead and move this down just so that we have it close. Okay, so that is very, very nice. So yeah, now we have our products listed, and the last page we have to fix is when we click on something, we go to the product ID. And if we go into our main, we can see where that actually happens. So right now we have our products, and this is very, very weird to read, but we have our products listed detail page. So now if we go to our products listed detail page, that should be in the host products, product details. Nope. Let's say products listed details. Where is that? Unless I changed the name of it. I think I did change the name of it. So let me see. Products listed. Let's see. Products listed detail from components layout, and then products listed detail. I don't know why that is in the layouts. Oh, because it has an outlet and it's sharing navigation between different things. So we can go into here, and then now we have this open. And the way we were doing it before was making a fetch request of the products list.map. That is very not the way we're going to do it. First, we want to use the param, and we want to go ahead and just, let's see, because things are going to change here. So, okay, let me kind of think about how we should do this. So the way I want to do this is, first of all, by using a loader. So let's go ahead and set up our loader. So let's say export function loader, and let's go ahead and import our get host products from our API. So we want to go ahead and put that inside of our loader to be called. So we want to return get host products. And now I want to go ahead and use the loader here. So the products listed detail is going to also export the loader as products listed details loader. That is such a long name. And then now I can copy that, and then products listed detail is going to return its loader. And that is exactly what we want. So now we can go inside of our products listed detail and we can use our use loader data. So now we can say const product detail equals use loader data. Of course, we need to go ahead and include that. And if we go down here, wow, that is a lot of links. If we go down here, we should be able to go ahead and console.log what we get from that, from product detail. And what we get from product detail is all 6 different, all 6 objects. So all 6 of the things that this host sells. And we don't want that. We only want the one. And what is happening there? Okay, that was really weird. I didn't know if I just clicked the wrong one. Okay, that is really weird. And that's fine. And I think the reason why that's happening is because this does not match up. Our data doesn't match up from our products list as this page right here. So that is actually cool that that's happening, because it shows why we need to sync our data together. So instead of just loading over all of our products, what we want to do is we want to pass an ID, and we can use that with params. So params, and then we can console.log our params to see what that gives us. And I explained what that did in a different video, but it basically just lets us use params inside of our loaders. So if we say params.id, we get 6, which is exactly what we want. So we can pass params.id, and we'll see that what we get back is actually changed. So now instead of getting back all of our objects, we instead just get back the one product that is the ID of 6. And the reason why this is happening, just to explain again, is that when we get the host products, which is different from getting all of the products, basically what's happening is that we're making a URL, an ID, and if the ID is true, meaning that it is actually provided, we are only going to make a API call to the products where the product ID is matching the params ID, which is 6, meaning that we'll get it from host products, and then we'll get the 6th product, which the 6th product is, of course, the Dead Sea Mud mask or whatever, or actually it's not, it's the sandalwood candle, but since our data doesn't match up yet, it's showing the wrong product. So, and then otherwise it'll just make an API call just to the host. So it'll make an API call just to this. And then if it has the ID, it'll make an API call to this right here. Okay, that's cool. So now let's go ahead and get this working. So now that we're getting back the correct object, inside of our product detail, we can go ahead and do some things here. So we can actually, maybe we can just say product and remove this, and let's see if we get any problems here. So product details not defined, don't need that. Set product is not defined. Let me see, we don't need to map over our products anymore. Set product is not defined. Okay, where are we using set product? Let's see here. Oh, we're using context. Oh, this one's a little bit different. So our outlet is using context. Ooh, okay. So we're not, oh, that is weird. That's different. Okay, yeah, that's gonna be weird. I think I can just switch my context over though, right? So the context is just gonna be of, and then I'm gonna just, the context is that so the other components don't have to basically make any kind of request. They can just use the context from this component. So I just want to say product. Maybe that'll go ahead and work for us. And what did I just do? Oh, I didn't close it. So product is not defined. Okay. I keep spelling product wrong. So I should be able to get all of my information, which is really good. And we'll have to, of course, change around some of our code here. So use loader data. Let's see where we're getting the name from. So we're getting the name from, where are we getting the name from? Getting the details. This is a shared piece of UI. So we'll have to go up here and say short name. And then there's no button found. So I want to go ahead and give these buttons. So I think inside of our products list, they each have their own type. So I'll have to add their type inside of the server.js. So let me see. I have to go inside of our server and I'll have to give them a type of since. And then this is a type. What is this? No, this is a type of skincare. And then this is a type of scents. Let's see, that's a type of scents. And then this is a type of wearables. And then this is a type. Let's go back real quick because I just want this image to work real quick. Let's just say .image URL. Remember that same thing that's been happening to us. So no button found. So product.type. So let's see. Let's just keep going so that we can get that working. And I want to go to the 6th product just to fix that one first. And I guess I'm using lowercase. So actually, I can just, let's see, type wearables, type skincare. I can just actually remove all of this and do something else. Instead, we can go here and we can say scents. And then we can say skincare and wearables since we already have the type. And the reason why we have the type is that once we go to the shop, we actually need to filter them, which is why we have the types already on there by default. So if we go to host, we go to products, let's click on a product. Yes, it takes us to the right one. These are still using context, and I want to explain what context does too. So the reason why we're using an outlet context here is so when we go inside of this nested UI, what's actually going to happen is that we don't need to make a fetch request, or we don't even need to, we don't need to use this loader function and then make a fetch request and basically go into a circle again and again and again and have to keep writing this fetch request. Even though our fetch request has become much more simple and much easier to use and understand, when we use outlet context and we go into our, let's say inside of our host and then our products details. And right now we're in detail. So let's switch to detail. And that is this page right here. When we use our outlet context, we can put this inside of state, and then we can use outlet context. And then basically what's happening here is that we can use our product, and then we can go ahead and use our product.name and then product.description. Otherwise it's going to be loading, but I actually might need to use a loader here. I'm not sure. I don't think I'd have to use any type of loader here since I'm using outlet context. So that's weird. I guess we'll go ahead and review that in a second, but that's why we're using the use outlet context. So that's basically going to take that from here, and it's going to pass this piece of state of product, which it's not a piece of state anymore. It's using the loader data, which is reaching it out with the fetch request. And I think we don't need this here. And we also don't need this here. And let's go ahead and refresh our page because everything is working correctly, and that is very exciting. I could just delete all of that code, but again, I would rather the page just kind of have a lot of legacy code just so that I can go back and kind of explain it to myself in my mind as to what everything was doing. And we went ahead and did that. So now our seller details is using the use outlet context. Let me pull up the other ones. So let me go to photos. Photos is using params. So I guess I didn't update that. That is very weird. Maybe I didn't update that just so that I would have two ways of doing it. But our pricing should have our use outlet context. And again, it does. So I just wanted to have more than one way of doing this. I think we'll maybe switch over to loaders as well when doing this. So actually, I don't think so, because this isn't an API call. This isn't relying on any API. So maybe instead of having to say it's going to load, maybe our loader is already handling that for us. So let's go to photos, pricing, and that is weird. Okay, let me remove that. So maybe our loader is already handling that for us. And again, I will probably leave the seller details. Actually, this is confusing now because if I leave it there, it's not confusing right now, but if I leave it there, I feel like it's going to confuse me in the future because it's using, actually no, because I'll have this code to reference as to why I had to conditionally render. And I had to understand that if it's not on the page yet, we wouldn't want it to load because we'd get an error thrown at us. But now since we're using loaders, our information will be there before the page even loads. First, we'll fetch our data and then our content will load to the screen. So I'm going to leave this here just for reference. I've been recording for a really long time, but I mean, I think everything is working exactly how we want it to work, and that is awesome. Oh, one more thing for seller detail. Let's say we want the short name because that is a very long name. Okay, yeah, we want the short name. So now we get the short names,